Good evening, November 20th on the Alan Osborne Show, and welcome to the Alan Osborne Walton County Shit Show. That's where we talk about the people in government that are part of the problem that ends up going to DC one day. And this is where we try to change which way the country's going by just telling each other the truth about what the people who work for us, the people, we the people, what the hell they're doing. And like I always tell you on the Alan Osborne Show, you can't make this kind of shit up. You just can't. I couldn't sit in a room. If I was, I'd be Stephen King. I'd be making bank if I could dream up this kind of freaking drama. So remember the other day when I read to you from the report, and I still have it here, right here, from the September investigation of Wade Wilmoth. You know, he was one of the guys in code enforcement that was making my code complaints disappear, weren't you, Wade? And Wade thought he's all smug and shit about it, and he walks around in public meetings like he's cock of the yard, and we know why. Because Wade made inappropriate advances and touching, and he made people uncomfortable as I make a crooked politician. Anyway, I told y'all about that and how I was appalled to hear that they had moved Wade to Veterans Affairs. So be that as it may, I am concerned as a veteran, as I told you, that we can't have a shitbag liar and somebody that can't be trusted in charge of our records. So that means, in my opinion, we can't have Wade. And here's what led me to this opinion. So I believe people display patterns of bad behavior. And Wade is one of them guys, I believe, because we just had an issue about how a guy in charge doesn't know how to conduct himself. And there's a lot of questions about things he had done. And I don't think this was Wade's first rodeo. So let me take you back into a time frame and let's see, does history repeat itself? I don't know. Now, whether y'all know it or not, the good old Alan Osborne Show is run by a veteran, me. So I did a little veteran research because I heard Wade was going to be running the veterans things. I don't want him in my damn records. Wade, you don't have permission to do anything in my records, no matter what anybody tells you. This is your notice. And really, you can't do anything for anybody else's except all of us catch you screwing with somebody's stuff. And if we do, that's a federal offense, and we're going to file on your ass. So let me take you back in time to 2005. Did you know the Alan Osborne Show was back in Korea in the 2000s and 99s and even in the 80s, Wade? You still were looking for pubic hair then, weren't you, Wade? Anyway, so I'm familiar with what goes on. So do a little search of what's out there. I'm going to take you back. Dateline 2005, Osan Air Base. A lieutenant who headed an Air Force police team patrolling the bar districts outside of Osan Air Base had his pick of a succession of bar girls for sexual liaisons, mounted unauthorized operations, which means illegal military sting operations, in an effort to catch bars in violation that he could exert power over him. This lieutenant had a team. He was a cop in the Air Force, this lieutenant. His name was Davis. And Davis in 2005 was charged with Article 32 hearings in an Osan bribery and sex scandal. When it goes on, it says Davis was charged with bribery, extortion, rape, as well as assault, larceny, adultery, violations of regulations and lawful orders, and willful dereliction of duty, making official false statements and conduct unbecoming an officer. This is what Davis did when he ran his team that patrolled the good old bar districts downtown, which is what we know as the red light district. Yep, this is where the whores and the drinking go on in overseas countries, and these lieutenants were in charge of keeping order downtown. So I want to tell you what's going on. These guys were on a power trip. You remember that power trip I told you that Wade was on in code enforcement, that he was above the law and above the rules? Well, hell, I believe that's just a pattern of behavior, Wade, because it says that this Davis lieutenant headed the Air Force police team. Now, I believe that Wade was part of that team because when I drop on down here, it says, key testimony Friday, came from 3 airmen who testified in exchange for immunity from prosecution. Lieutenant Garland Wade Wilmoth was a key testifying officer who testified in exchange for this immunity from prosecution. Now, Wayne, were you the snitch? Wade, were you the snitch? And so you got out of all this? So you're telling me? And Davis would go on to be convicted. He wasn't just charged. He ended up copping a plea deal after Wade and all them testifying. Listen to what he said. They were putting him on trial, and Davis said he admitted that running these illicit police schemes and undercover operations. Don't you think some of this other police team was in on it? Who was on the team? Were you on the team, Wade? It's a question to you, and it's a fair one, because it says here that you traded your testimony so they wouldn't prosecute you. And I have a feeling that this Davis, who admitted to running these undercover operations illicitly, accepting cash and gifts from club owners, maintaining illicit sexual liaisons with bar girls, violating military curfews that town patrol had the duty of enforcing, having sex with women not his wife, illegally possessing weapons, illegally maintaining an apartment, using racial slurs, filling false requests, you name it. This lieutenant on a trip-happy power trip forgot what his oath was to the Constitution, and him and his team broke the law. He was the ringleader, but he had some support people. Isn't that the kind of role you were in code, that key support role, Wade? So that's where I'm at. What has the Walton County done with this guy, and what the hell are they going to do with it? This is ridiculous. Hey, Wade, did you tell, when you were hired, did you tell people about your background in enforcing the law and that you had to give testimony for prosecution immunity against you? Man, that's some information you want to know, like the National Enquirer, but you found it out on the Alan Osborne show. You know, it's a shame that we have to get to this. And then ain't no wonder. Mr. Quinn, county administrator, Mr. Turner, assistant administrator, maybe you should look into what my complaints were given to Wade and what he did to those. Did he make them go away? This other lieutenant was taking money for things going away back in the day. And Wade testified against him. Wade, did you watch him do that? How come you didn't turn him in, Wade? Because if you'd have turned him in before they caught him, they wouldn't have needed, you would have got it from the get-go, right? So Wade, just explain to us, all us veterans, why the hell some guy that's not trusted by his own employees and creates bad, I want to use their words, that had an awful work environment, unprofessional, does not feel comfortable in their work environment. And in fact, one of the supervisors working around you said that he felt this pressure. I just wonder who you helped out in code. Were you a follower, just like you followed Lieutenant Davis? These are just the questions I have. And you do your research for yourself. These articles can be found on Stars and Stripes and OSON, Article 32 hearings. Look that up, June 12th, 2005. There's all kind of, look about one of the largest sexual busts of rings that Americans were involved in Osan, Korea. Look at that human trafficking. Hey, Wade, you were an officer. Did somebody give you a do not promote? Just because you cut a deal, I bet your superiors know why you were there. Did you have to extend your tour or something like that? When, folks, I was a military officer in 2 services. When guys get in trouble like this, they don't go anywhere till it's over, because it says right here they were holding the main dude in jail over there. I wonder how long Wade's 12-month tour was for him to be the snitch and save himself. These are questions on the Alan Osborne show, and you can't make this shit up. And you can't make up Danny Glidewell. Danny Glidewell stood up the other day and gave us an update of the BCC hearing, but he forgot about the possible lynching during the emergency meeting. They forgot to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and nobody wanted to take an oath. You can't make this shit up on the Alan Osborne show, but apparently you can put it in charge of code enforcement, and you can put it in charge of Veterans Affairs, but you shouldn't, and we shouldn't permit it, and neither should the commissioners. And that's the way it was on November 20th. And that's the Alan Osborne show. My damn tooth hurts and I'm ornery. But I didn't make anything up. I just read you the stuff and the words of the events that occurred. That's the way it was. Y'all keep them straight out there because they can't keep themselves straight, and you can't make this shit up. See you next time.